Have you ever thought about the fact that, like, we all started as just one single cell? It's wild.
It really is.
Like, all the instructions for an entire human, you, me, all from one cell. Crazy, right?
Absolutely. All the instructions, yeah.
And today we're diving deep into how that one single cell turns into, well, us. It's all about these things called germ layers. They're kind of a big deal.
Yeah, definitely a big deal. I like how you put that.
So, like, okay, we all get that cells divide and make more cells, but, like, when do things actually start getting organized?
Right, right. So after fertilization, there are these early stages, and it is pretty much just about increasing the number of cells. And that is where the blastocyst stage comes in. And this is where it really starts to get organized, because that cluster of cells, it isn't just a random clump anymore. So picture this, a liquid-filled ball, right? And inside, you've got this small, tightly packed group of cells that's kind of pushed off to one side.
Okay, I'm picturing it. So that little group, that's the inner cell mass.
Exactly, you got it, the inner cell mass. And let me tell you, that little cluster, it's about to become the star of the show.
Okay, hold on. So out of all those cells, only the ones in the inner cell mass are the ones that actually become us.
You got it. It's like the inner cell mass. That's the VIP section. Only those cells, they get to participate in forming the embryo.
What about all the other ones?
So everything else, don't get me wrong, it's still important, for support and for development and all that, but they don't actually become you.
Whoa, okay. This is already kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
All right, so this inner cell mass, this VIP group of cells, those are the ones that form the 3 germ layers that we always hear about.
You got it. 100%. And that process, my friend, is a fascinating journey. We call it gastrulation.
Gastrulation. It sounds kind of intense, like some epitransformation story.
Well, it really is in a way. It's how that little cluster of cells in the inner cell mass, the VIPs we were talking about, it's how they go from that little cluster to a 3-layered structure.
Okay, and those 3 layers are the famous germ layer.
The germ layers, that's right. The blueprint, the guide for your entire body. So we start with a 2-layered embryonic disc.
Right.
And gastrulation, that's what transforms it into 3 very distinct layers.
Mm-hmm.
The ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm.
The ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. Okay, so break it down for me. What actually happens during gastrulation? I saw something in the notes about ingression.
Yeah, ingression. The lecturer described it as a sheet of cells moving towards a fold. It's stuck with me ever since, that visual. So imagine this, a wave of these tiny cells, and they're all migrating towards like this line right down the middle of the embryo, like they're following some invisible roadmap.
They have a purpose, a destination.
Exactly, like they know where they're going. And as they reach that line, they start tucking themselves inward. And the first wave of cells to make this move, they become the endoderm, the innermost layer. It forms things like the lining of your digestive tract, your respiratory system, all those really important internal organs.
Wow. Okay, so what about those hypoblast cells we talked about before? The ones that were kind of pushed aside by the inner cell mass way back when?
Oh, you remember that? Yes. Good memory. Well, guess what? They get pushed aside again.
No way.
This time, it's by those ingressing endoderm cells.
So they're important for the first part, but they don't actually become us.
Exactly. It's like they're setting the stage, but they don't actually get to be in the play.
Wild. Okay, that is so interesting. Okay, so we've got the endoderm, our foundation. What about the other 2 layers?
Right. So after the endoderm does its thing, the next wave of cells, they start ingressing, and these become the mesoderm.
The mesoderm, okay.
And they're a really interesting bunch, these mesoderm cells.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See, unlike the endoderm cells, which are, nice and organized, these mesoderm cells, they're a little more, shall we say, loosey-goosey, almost like stars scattered across the sky. And these cells, they're the wanderers, the adventurers. They can migrate, far and wide throughout the embryo, and they can become a huge variety of different cell types.
Oh, wow. So they've got options.
They've got options. And because of that freedom, that's why the mesoderm is responsible for such a diverse range of tissues and organs. I'm talking everything from your bones and muscles to your circulatory system and your kidneys. It all originates from those intrepid mesoderm cells.
The mesoderm is like the overachiever of the germ layers.
That's one way to put it.
I love it. Okay, so we've got the inner layer, the endoderm, and the super versatile middle layer, the mesoderm. What about the final layer? The ectoderm.
The ectoderm. So the cells that don't ingress at all, the ones that stay put on the outer surface, they become the ectoderm. This is the layer that's your body's interface with the outside world.
Okay.
So think, skin, hair, nails, even your senses, all ectoderm.
So the ectoderm is like our protective shell.
Yeah.
our outer barrier.
Exactly. It shields you from all the elements. It helps regulate your temperature, even allows you to experience the world through your senses. But, and here's the real head scratcher, if the ectoderm forms that outer layer, how in the world does it also form the brain and spinal cord?
Wait, yeah, those are tucked away inside, safe and sound.
$1 million question. It really is one of the most mind-boggling feats of development. And to understand it, we have to delve into the incredible process of neurulation, which, well, that takes us to our next chapter.
Okay, but seriously, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
We've got the ectoderm forming our skin, right? That's the outside.
Yeah, right.
But then it also forms the brain and the spinal cord, which are, inside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a magic trick.
Right.
It really is. But the answer, it all comes down to this amazing process called neurulation. Remember when the lecturer was drawing on the board, showing us how a flat sheet can become a tube?
Yeah. He actually folded a piece of paper to demonstrate. It was very helpful, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. That visual, it really helps to wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
It's like you're taking that flat sheet of ectoderm and you're transforming it into this tube. And that tube, that becomes the neural tube. And the neural tube is the precursor to your brain and spinal cord.
Okay, so it folds. But
Yeah.
what makes it fold? Like, what's telling it to do that?
That's where our friend, the notochord, comes in. Remember that.
Right.
It's like this flexible rod runs along the back of the embryo. You can think of it like the body's midline, like the central building line for the whole structure.
Okay.
The notochord, it sends out signals. And those signals, well, they basically tell certain parts of the ectoderm, hey, you, thicken up, grow taller.
It's directing traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And as these thickened plates, we call it the neural plate, as they grow taller, they start to curve inward towards each other.
Okay, so like the two sides of a taco shell coming together.
Exactly, a taco shell. And eventually those edges, they meet and they fuse together, and voila, you've got a hollow tube, the neural tube. It's important to note it's not just joining the two ends of a sheet, It's more like when you push two sides of a carpet together, you get that raised bump in the middle.
Right, right.
And that process, it not only forms the neural tube, but it also explains why, even though the skin and the nervous system, they end up one on the outside and one on the inside, they're actually still connected.
Whoa, okay, so that folding action, it's not just creating the neural tube. It's like tucking it inside and creating our body cavity all at the same time.
2-for-1 deal. It's really quite elegant, and it really highlights just how interconnected everything is during development. But it gets even wilder. So during neurulation, some of those nice, blocky ectoderm cells, they decide to loosen up a little. They detach from that neatly organized layer, and they become, you'll never guess.
Don't tell me mesenchymal cells. Our little free spirits.
You got it. These little rebels, they're called neural crest cells, and they're incredible.
So they're from the outer layer, the ectoderm, but they become, what, bones, pigment cells, all that?
They break free, they migrate all over the embryo, and they contribute to the most amazing array of different structures.
Okay, so wait, so you're saying that this isn't just like a straight line from point A to point B.
Nope.
There are all these little side stories, all these little subplots.
Absolutely. That's what makes it so fascinating. All these intricate dances and interactions that are going on between these tiny little cells. And in the end, they all come together to create something as complex as a human being.
Oh man, this is blowing my mind. It's like a beautifully choreographed ballet, but instead of dancers, it's cells. And the music is, I don't even know, cellular signals. It's incredible.
It truly is. And even though we've done a pretty good job of mapping out this whole journey from a single cell to this symphony of development, there's still so much we don't understand. Like, what are the exact signals that tell those mesenchymal cells, okay, you be a bone cell and you over there be a pigment cell? How do they know where to go? What to do? These are the mysteries that keep scientists up at night trying to unravel these incredible secrets of life.
Wow. It really makes you appreciate just how amazing it is, this whole process. To think that this incredible journey, this dance of cells, it's happening inside each and every one of us right now. It's just mind-blowing.
It really is remarkable. And every time we learn something new, we realize how much more there is to learn.
Well, I have learned a ton today. I really appreciate you taking this deep dive with us into the unbelievable, mind-blowing world of embryonic development.
My pleasure.